This is the Hoftime Report with Idaho Freedom Foundation President Wayne Hoffman, one of Idaho's most respected, influential public policy voices.
Hey. Good evening. Glad to be back on the program. I'm sorry about the intro. I don't know what I keep doing wrong. One of these days, I'm going to get a 10-year-old in here to help me figure it out. But anyway, we're back. Glad to be back with you again today. And we've got a couple, I hope, interesting topics. Actually, just one topic. Man, sometimes you just kind of hate yourself. And every time I see this story comes up, I really hate myself. I got to tell you, um, I should have addressed this years ago. Years ago, folks, I should have talked about this, and I just never got around to it. I was just so busy doing other things, working on other issues. This one just, seemed like one that I could just let go. And I tried. I really tried. And here we are. Um, all these years later, I have to explain why I let these bastards get away with what they're doing over in Ammon, Idaho. It just really frustrates the hell out of me. Could have talked about it a long time ago and just never did. But the media have been covering up for these guys, and it's really important because I got to tell you, the folks over in Ammon are promoting this not only all over the state, but all over the country. It is really bad. What they've done is they've created a city owned fiber optic system to connect people to the internet. And I don't know. Look, this is socialism, and I get it. There are two components here. Number one, it's socialism. Number two, the media are promoting it as if it's the best thing in the world. It's terrible. The headline said in the Post Registered newspaper, this is journalistic malpractice in action. Because when you read the story, you see that is basically a city government news release about how wonderful their new city utility is. It's terrible. The headline in the Post Register says, "City Ammon has the seventh cheapest internet in the world," and it's written by Elena Hunter at the Post Register. Um, okay, I don't know who she is. It doesn't have her pronouns in there, so who knows? But it says Ammon has been. This is a long story, by the way, so bear with me because there are so many points in here that just need to be just brought to people's attention to understand what this is. This is not some wonderful gift to humanity. This is the importation of socialism, and you now have the city government running the internet. Anyone wondering if that's a good idea? Okay, so the story starts out. Ammon has been recognized internationally for its Ammon model of fiber optic internet, which covers some of the which offers some of the cheapest internet costs in the world. And then they say for 2010, the city of Ammon began construction of municipally owned fiber optic system. That sounds perfectly normal for a city government to be doing. Since this time, we've invested several hundred miles of fiber optic infrastructure. Today, the infrastructure serves city operations, local 911 dispatch center, first responders, eight different service providers, blah, 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 businesses, and 1,500 residential properties. And then it says that a Harvard University study was devoted to this fiber optic network in 2017. So see, they're promoting this stuff. 2019, Fast Company, a monthly business magazine and website, called Ammon's network the best fiber optic network in America. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But the point is, it's a new government-owned utility, and it's one that happens to connect households and businesses to the rest of the world. And that ain't dangerous at all, folks. What could possibly go wrong? Then I understand. All right, so they want to have this inexpensive, I guess, ish fiber optic network, but this is this is this is not. I mean, you could make that argument for anything, right? We want to have the least expensive burgers in the world, you know. Least, how about this? The least expensive grocery stores in the world. Well, yeah, all the produce in there is a third the cost of Walmart or Winco or Albertsons. That's wonderful. It's the whatever Boise model because Mayor McLean decides that's a terrific idea. This is socialism. This is a lesson that we all need to pay attention to. We are promoting socialism in Little Ammon, Idaho. Little tiny Ammon, Idaho. It's not really that tiny anymore. But yeah, so the story goes on, and let me say, I gotta get to the really interesting part. Okay, and Ammon, let's see. Wait, I want to make sure I get this because it's really important. So bear with me for just a minute. To ensure the best prices for customers, there must be. This is written by a journalist, by the way. This is not a press release. To ensure the best prices for customers, there must be a careful and deliberate unbundling of services from infrastructure, both technically as well as economically. The Ammon model is special in that it has perfected this, Tracy said. Oh my. I mean, listen, I know that the reporter's paraphrasing him there, but my gosh, but it's never even cross-examined. No one ever questions anything. The reporter doesn't go, "Is there anything that could possibly be wrong or not so wonderful about this?" Um, Many cities across the country form local improvement districts as a method by which a group of property owners can share in the cost of infrastructure improvements in their neighborhoods. The improvement districts are most commonly used for such projects as streets, building sidewalks, stormwater preparation, etc. Ammon is just using them to provide Ammon is just using them to provide fiber optic infrastructure. Okay. And by the way, again, that's the reporter. This sounds like a press release. I have read press releases that are less effusive than this one. And in the Ammon money, the city facilitates the financing and construction of infrastructure and then takes on the maintenance and operational responsibilities post construction. This is all accomplished with the participation and support of people living in the LID. Okay, so they've got these LIDs set up, and you in the newspaper article list them all and which subdivisions and neighborhoods are going to be in each LID. I mean, this isn't like so. Yes, they've got a funding structure that's the cheapest, but they've also got this taxing structure, and it's really unclear to me how all those are interweaved. But it really gets more interesting. So Um, anyway, the more individual property owners participate, the lower the installation cost will be for each property. Yeah, of course, because I mean, is it Captain Obvious here? The fact is, yes, you have this larger pool, and the costs are going to be less, but they're compounded to participate. I mean, that's yeah. The more individual, the more individual property owners participate, the lower the installation cost will be for each property. These people are they're compounding in this participation. And maybe that doesn't make any sense. They are um, they're it's like any other business venture where you've got costs that are lowered because you're able to buy in quantity. It's the same reason that Walmart competes better against the mom and pop store, which is precisely my my point. Is that uh, they are taking away this opportunity from the private sector to figure out their own funding model, to figure out how to make this work. And maybe it's possible that the city can do it at least for a short time for less money than the private sector. But gosh, that you know what that you know where that goes. You know where that leads. It leads to this program that is. Sorry, my daughter's calling me now. It leads to this program where you've got the uh, uh, falling apart infrastructure, where you've got it being on a list of priorities versus other things like schooling or roads or um, fire or police services. Those things all compete with one another. And now you have this other thing that's competing in there. Okay, so then here's where it gets really interesting. The amount due is then attached to the property as a lien and paid over the course of 20 years at a low municipal bond rate of less than 3%, Tracy said. So, and this Tracy, by the way, I mean, they just interviewed this one person in this whole thing. Dan Tracy, the director of information technology for Ammon Fiber Optics. So they put a lien on the property. They put a lien on the property. May I remind you that this is government? This is government doing this. The force of government is a mighty and very dangerous thing. If I fail to pay my cable bill, ordinarily I wouldn't lose my home because I have a lien on the property. And just think about that for a little bit. And they're going to say, oh, we never take your. What are you doing with the lien? This is terrible. This is really terrible. And this is now considered normal. And it's coming to your city. It's coming to your city. These folks are out there. They are promoting this thing tirelessly. They are. They're going to city conventions and they're talking about this Ammon model. And of course, city governments are always looking for new things to get into. That's what governments do. They grow and they compete against the private sector. And I bet you anything. I don't know what I would bet, but I bet you a tremendous amount of money yet to be determined that one day in the not too distant future, the Ammon model's um, internet is going to suck. It's going to be the worst. And the customer service is going to be rotten. And that's the Ammon model, years in the future. My daughter's calling me. Hello? What's up? Yes. Got it. I'll do that. Love you. Bye. Anyway, um, yeah, it's that was my daughter, by the way. It's a mess, and it's being praised. People are gushing all over this. Look at this new government program that they have in Ammon, and everybody's going to want to partake. Everybody's going to want to partake, and no one's going to question. And this is a role the news media could have played. They could have said, "Wait a minute, is this really a role for government?" And you could have people being interviewed even in this article, rather than just having the one official from the government internet system on there. You could have still interviewed people who said this is a terrible idea. There are plenty of conservatives in Idaho and the Idaho Falls area who must think this is horseshit. I know there are. I know many of them. So it's really just too bad that a city in Idaho is being uh, talked about as being somehow this innovative town with a lot of you know really wonderful um, government services, including internet services. It's just really too bad. And again, it's I obviously don't want the government to have any ownership of any component of the internet, and why wouldn't I? But in addition to this, it's obviously a socialist venture, and nothing more you can describe it as besides that. It is a socialist venture, and one of these days it's going to do what all kinds of socialist ventures do, which is it has it'll lose out to other government priorities because it has to compete in that marketplace for the dollar of each individual taxpayer in the city. It's going to not be kept up. It's not going to keep up with the times. If there's something that comes along better, And the other really important part is um, who wants to invest in Ammon? It sure this time the city's taken on this responsibility. What other responsibilities will the city decide to take on? And what companies that are investing their money in other places in the country, um, which companies are going to walk away and find other places to play in the market? It's um, it's really just too bad. Got some comments here. Hang on. Now I'm on my iPad, so it looks better, and I can't figure out how to. I had all these neat little buttons I could press before, and now they're not there. But Glenn, it looks like you say can't opt out, pay the full. It was oversold. Now they limit watering days. Oh, Lewiston Orchard. Okay, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Lewiston Orchard Irrigation District. Yeah, it's um, it's inevitable. Everybody knows exactly what's going to happen, except apparently the people in the media. And I guess there are residents over in Ammon who look at it and go, "Oh yeah, this makes perfect sense." I mean, you can make that argument for anything, and that's the really sad thing. And every time you have um, a government entity proposing to do anything, you can find the thing that they're replacing. Everything. I mean, I talk about this all the time. If not for Medicaid, you would have a lot of charities and a lot of services in a community to help people in need. And the same thing for food stamps. Um, Same thing for all kinds of services. I mean, and you can imagine everything that you could replace. You can replace grocery stores. You can replace hotels. You can make a good excuse for all of it, right? You can. Here's the argument. Oh gosh, I'm gonna regret doing this, but I'm going to anyway. Here's the argument for government-run hotels. Um, the, the the economy gets a lot of money from tourists, and so you have to have government-run hotels because there aren't enough hotels in town, and so we need more hotels, and that'll help it. Or maybe people will make an argument for uniformity, that people come in from other countries and it's just so easy because all of the hotels in Boise or Lewiston are run by the government. It's like McDonald's. I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot of people can make excuses for everything. So government run hotels. And by the way, you already kind of have. You don't have government run hotels, but you have government already making that excuse to be in the tourism industry. They collect bed taxes, auditorium district taxes in Idaho. Go to hotels, or they're collected by hotels, and some of them go back to the economy that support those hotels. Or that's the argument that they make anyway. They'll say things like, "We'll advertise, and your hotel room is going to be filled up with people using the bed tax that we collect, or whatever they're using to collect the money." It's Yeah, so that's the hotel argument. Car lots. So people should be spending less money getting to and from their jobs and to and from their families. So they need car lots. Although, again, the government is kind of in the transportation business already, with roads and with public rail and buses. I mean, so why not? Why shouldn't they buy cars too? And then you can also control the number of cars being bought in a community so as to reduce greenhouse gases or some bullshit. So there's your car lot argument. I could make others too. I'm just saying that in this case, they made the argument for internet. And now it's the seventh cheapest in the world. I guess I need to look up who has the cheapest. That's what I really need to look up. Hang on a second. Maybe I can do that while I'm on the program, because wouldn't that be fun? Because this just says they have the seventh cheapest internet in the world. Okay, so it's. Where does it say that? Last year, report came out. Oh my gosh, I completely missed this part. It says, let me make sure I got this right. I hope I didn't get this wrong, but I'm looking at this. Ammon has some of the cheapest internet in the world, Austin said. Who's Austin? Who is Austin? I remember. Micah Austin, the Ammon city administrator, who shared his pride in the accomplishments of the city and its fiber optic accomplishments. That, oh my gosh, what is wrong with these people? This is an actual story. Micah Austin, Ammon city administrator, shared his pride in the accomplishments of the city and its fiber optic accomplishments. This is journalism. Okay, but here's the sentence that I was getting to. Ammon has some of the cheapest internet in the world, Austin said. Last year, a report came out that said we had the seventh cheapest internet on the earth. What's the report called? What report? Tell me the name of the report because I was going to Google it now. Now I'll have to Google it. Okay, let's do this. Cheapest. Stick with me, folks. You're going to want to see my head explode. Cheapest internet in the world. I'm Googling it. So now Google's going to know that I looked this up and they're going to want to come after me. Just kidding. Journos that might be watching and want to accuse me of claiming that Google is coming after me. Okay, let's see here. Countries with cheapest internet have been ranked for 2022. This is from Atlas and Boots outdoor travel blogs. I don't even know if this is going to get me what I'm looking for. Which countries have the cheapest internet? Oh my gosh. Okay, you ready? You ready for this? Countries with the cheapest internet. I don't even okay. I'm gonna double check this when I'm done, but if this is correct. Number one. Actually, let's do this in backwards. Let's do this 10-1, all right? Number 10, Kazakhstan. Number 9, Turkey. Number 8, Romania. Number 7, Mongolia. Number 6, Moldova. Number 5, Russia. Number 4, Ukraine. Number 3, Belarus. Number 2, Sudan. And number 1, Syria. Okay. Yay, cheapest in the world. All right, guys. So just to summarize, don't believe the bullshit about Ammon's city internet. Don't let your city follow suit because it's stupid. And just remember, socialism bad. Even if it sounds like it's doing something useful, like making your internet cheaper, there's a trade-off. It's a big one, and it's too bad that it's happening here in Idaho. Thanks, y'all. Talk to you again next Tuesday.
You've been listening to the Hoftime Report with Wayne Hoffman. Be sure to visit Idaho Freedom